Hello, my name is David Gouthro, and I'm here today with Michele Soregaroli. Michele is one of the partners in Transformation Catalyst. And one of the things we want to do today is just give you a sense of who Michele is and how she is, get a sense of both the content and the chemistry, should you be looking for someone to help you differentiate either yourself or your organization. So good afternoon, Michele.
Thank you, David. Good afternoon to you too. It's a delight to be here with you today.
So I thought one of the things that might be helpful is if you could describe folks a little bit about, what you do, how you came to be doing what you're doing, sort of the two or three breath introduction, if you could.
Okay. So I spent the better part of my early career in professional services in one form or another. I've sold real estate. I've had my own entrepreneurial venture as a teenager where I was going door to door and selling products. And then I spent the latter part of my career prior to coaching in professional services on the financial services side. So in 2004, I was introduced to coaching. And I took a 4-day introduction and I never looked back. I just thought it was such a fantastic way to support people and really important for entrepreneurs generally. So I've been coaching ever since.
So that the notion of coaching, it's been around for a long time, but that was sort of early days in terms of it becoming a profession and something that you really did and help companies out with.
Yeah.
So I noticed you describe yourself as a differentiation coach, and I'm curious about what's meant by that. I've seen all kinds of different kinds of coaches, but not differentiation. So first of all, what you mean by that, how you came to that, and what that actually means for someone who might be thinking of working with you.
So differentiation at its starting point is really about standing out and being different. And for me personally, it's always been really important for me whether I'm hiring a service provider or even just getting to know someone. I always want to know what their unique nuances are. And I've always what makes you different? What makes you unique? What makes you interesting? So I've just always been oriented that way. And certainly in my career, because it was focused so heavily in highly commoditized industries, I also noticed that these nuances of the things that differentiated these professionals, they were not acknowledging them or even recognizing them in many cases. And I just saw the distinct nuances between how one tax accountant versus a different tax accountant could be basically doing completely different, giving the same basic advice, but doing it in a completely different way with a different background philosophy and what have you. So when I started out coaching, I've always been really passionate about entrepreneurs generally, partly because of my past and also because I just have such a healthy respect for the entrepreneurial journey. It's not easy, and these entrepreneurs put their everything on the line every day for our communities, for themselves, and to bring value to the world. So it's just a really passionate place for me. So then I started thinking about coaching, of course, and how that overlaid with my interest in differentiation. And there's a lot of differentiators out there in terms of marketing experts and branding experts and strategy people and whatnot, but there isn't a lot of coaching support to help the entrepreneur really draw out the nuances of their unique offer, because often they don't know what that is. So without the right support, they don't come up with the right answers to questions that are being asked of them from other experts who are trying to package their offer, if you will. So that's where I started to dig in a little deeper and kind of explore what differentiation coaching might look like.
So I'm curious. So I could see the importance of helping someone identify what differentiates them. And actually, I guess I have two questions around this. So first of all, you can be different, but not necessarily desirable. Right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
how do you determine out of the realm of things around which you could be different? The ones, I presume when you say differentiation, that's from a market perspective that it has value to be differentiated that way.
Yeah, thank you. So that's at the heart of all my work, actually. I'm not a big fan of gimmicky differentiation or marketing differentiation. One of the things I like to say is at one time you could walk down the street with purple hair and you'd be different, but it wasn't necessarily valuable. Right. So everything I do with clients is identifying how their unique approach to problem solving and how their unique background has influenced and informed how they bring their expertise to the table. And so that can translate into everything from the specific type of problems and the way they solve those problems are, right down to the processes and systems that they design, through to the values that they bring forward and the biases that they bring forward into their expertise, as well as the bigger purpose behind it. So even for me, my purpose is to support entrepreneurs to have really healthy, vibrant businesses that they feel invigorated by, as well as bringing value to the market.
So then
So,
it's, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
So I know that like one of my one of my challenges is I'm pretty good at knowing what differentiates me, but I'm terrible at converting that into action that moves it into the marketplace. So do you
Right.
do that part as well? Like,
Yeah.
that's really great. You're well differentiated, but you're still going to fail
Yeah.
unless you take it out.
Yeah, exactly. So once we have a better understanding from the entrepreneur perspective, we first focus on clarity. So it's so important, especially in services, because we're not selling a product. It's really important to understand the nuances of our offer and what makes our style and approach different and valuable. So that clarity is critical. Then at that point, once we have that clarity, we can then, like I have, we can then focus on that clarity and the strengths, right? So yes, I'm a business coach, big umbrella, but my nuance is differentiation, much to do with my passions and interest in natural talent, right? So then I can focus my expertise in that area. And from there, we can get into action that is aligned with developing a business and a model and your products and services that support and allow you to really set yourself up for success with clients, right?
So this includes the setting up
Oh,
the accountability
sorry,
part.
your mic came in and out. I couldn't hear you there.
So that includes the part where I need to be accountable to myself, and you help me do that, to do the things I said I was going to do.
Yeah. One of the things I find really interesting about coaching is certainly in the early days, most of the coaching industry was built on accountability, especially in the early days. You know, people would say, I'm looking for someone to hold me accountable. And actually, one of my core philosophies is that I don't think it's wise to have someone else hold you accountable to things that you don't necessarily want to do. I believe that we all get up and brush our teeth in the morning. Most of us shower every day. And that's because we understand the consequences of that and it's important to us, right? So my philosophy around accountability is, why don't we identify the things that are really important to you and figure out why they're important and what their role is in the bigger picture. And then you can hold yourself accountable, and you don't need someone else to be asking you if you've done important work. You'll do it yourself.
So that's fabulous. Good to know. Reinforcement means I need to be hiring you. And but beyond that, the name of your company, Transformation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about incremental growth coach and things like that.
Oh,
Like, do you?
no.
Don't mean to put you on the spot here, but I will. So, if you were to think of some of your clients that would say that you'd help them actually transform their business as opposed to just do things a little bit better without mentioning names and things like that. Do you have any examples that come to mind where it has been a transformation? So, hockey stick growth or something like that.
Absolutely. So I worked with an advisor in financial services on the insurance side. This particular advisor was highly accomplished, and what I would say, I would call this advisor a technical expert.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when we establish that kind of expertise is we get almost to the end of our growth curve, if you will, because we need to turn that technical expertise into what I have coined creative mastery. So, and that journey is not easy. It involves a lot of courage. It involves a lot of experimenting and trying. So when we understand what the nuances are of our offer, we then have to shift and design our offer slightly differently to really highly align with the things that are important to us, right? That involves everything from the way your offer is delivered to the type of clients you might engage with, to the type of network that you might have. It's not massive adjustments, but these minor shifts, so these little tweaks, can have significant impact. So this particular client went from being a technical expert in insurance through to becoming, using his interest in mindfulness, actually, and using his skill in he's a master of meditation.
Oh.
So this client brought mindfulness and meditation into his insurance practice and changed the face of his offer so that it reflected the mindfulness and meditation and its role in estate planning and insurance planning and wellness. So now his whole sandbox has changed. The way his offer rolls out has changed, and his business has gone from a relatively small team to a team where it's probably 3 times the size now, as well as people who constantly want to work with him and his team, and his business has increased dramatically as well. So there's been a significant exponential increase in revenues too.
That's
So
fabulous.
it's been remarkable to watch, because the joy in this advisor's eyes just shows every day, because he's just loving the conversations and loving the value that he brings to the table, because it's so deeply aligned with what's important to him.
That's very cool. And I guess that's, something that an external person brings, is to see a person's skills or talents or interests a little bit differently and see where the minor tweaks can have a dramatic input. Like, I guess if you're coaching someone in tennis, and just a slight adjustment in the way they hold the racket can make a huge difference in the way they play the game.
Yeah, exactly. Based on the way that they would play the game is based on their body structure, right? And their muscular strength and their responsiveness and their quick reflexes or not. So each of those nuances in the body are going to create a different player. And I think in professional services, what most of us try to do is follow a really rigid formula that helps us become a technical expert, but it doesn't help us become masterful and bring that creative edge that is our unique opportunity for growth and value into the market. Right. Cool. And that's the place where I just love to help clients move, because it's difficult to self-identify, and it's a challenging journey. It does require some courage.
So the last question that I'll ask is that I notice, and I will include the URL for your website, and that's down below. Now, I know that you happen to live and work in Vancouver. So are you rooted in Vancouver, or are you willing and able to travel?
So I'm willing and able to travel, and I actually do a lot of client meetings virtually. So we use Zoom, we use phone, we use whatever platform clients like. We tend to like Zoom because it's so great to have this face-to-face interaction. But I have clients all over the country, so it's fantastic. And I have had clients in the US and as far south as Colombia. So if you are an English speaker with internet, we can work together.
Okay, so those drug cartels are taking advantage of your So, okay, so that's great. So, and you'd also be quite comfortable, I'm presuming, speaking in front of a group, getting a whole pile of people excited about thinking about their work differently as well.
Yeah. So I've been fortunate to have been able to present on some larger stages again across the country. So it's been a journey, and it's a joyful place for me to support entrepreneurs across Canada and the world who want to bring value to the market. So.
Well, Michelle, thank you very much for your time today. And I hope as a result of people seeing this video, they'll kind of go, I must have that person. I must work with them. I must put them in front of my people.
David, you've been very generous. Thank you. Thank you for this. And I just really appreciate the opportunity to collaborate with you too.
My pleasure.
Thank you.